Welcome to day 163. We're in 1 Kings 20 through 22 and 2 Chronicles 18. Just a couple things today. In here, we're really talking about different things that are happening with Jehoshaphat and Ahab, and how the kings are working together and making mistakes, and one is doing the Lord's will and one's doing things out of revenge. And as you make your list of the different kings and where they are, if you have a study Bible, it does show you a very good list of the kings. I'm going to lift this up and show it to you because it's very, very good. Not that you can see it, but it shows the kings of the northern tribe and the southern tribes of Israel, and then also it shows you where the prophets start to come into play. So the people are turning their backs on God in Israel, which is the northern kingdoms, and so God starts sending them prophets and doing things and trying to get them to come back. And then you have the southern kingdoms. And eventually the northern kingdom gets taken by Syria, and then the southern kingdoms, they start to have problems, and God sends them prophets to talk to them, and they eventually get taken to Babylon. So as you're making this helps tell that story, and it's extremely important for you to get those things. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, if you have a study Bible, it's listed very well, but you really should still make your own list. Now, the number 7 is used here in today's reading. Again, imagine that. I have a very big list of 7s, and I'm sure there are books out there written about the number 7 in the Bible. But again, make your own lists. You learn more from it. So Ahab goes to battle with Ben-Hadad and against Ben-Hadad, and he's going to be given the victory. But here's what it says in 1 Kings 20, verse 29. The two armies camped outside each other for 7 days, and on the 7th day the battle began. Then the Israelites killed the Aramean foot soldiers, and Ahab wins that battle. Okay? And then Jezebel, the story of Jezebel. Jezebel was listed earlier, a few days ago or whatever, but then the end of Jezebel and what she really did, the horrible part of what she did, listed, and not too many people are listed in the Bible as doing something bad. That's why the name Jezebel is so prevalent, not popular, prevalent, there's something so bad about it that she is listed in here. She's just the wife of Ahab. So I want to read just a couple things about it. And what does she do? She influences Ahab to do something horrible. Ahab wants this vineyard that's close to where he's at, and Jezebel works a way out to murder the man who owns the vineyard so that Ahab can get it. So here's what it says in verse 20. So, my enemy, you have found me, Ahab exclaimed to Elijah. Yes, Elijah answered, I have come because you have sold yourself to what is evil in the Lord's sight. So now the Lord says, I will bring disaster on you and consume you. I will destroy every one of your male descendants, slave and free alike, anywhere in Israel. I'm reading this. This is what happens when you are influenced by bad things. Not just your own things, but your spouse as well. So, verse 23, it says, and regarding Jezebel, the Lord says, dogs will eat Jezebel's body at the plot of land in Jezreel. And then in verse 25, it says this. This is the most important thing about Jezebel. No one else so completely sold himself to what is evil in the Lord's sight as Ahab did, under the influence of his wife, Jezebel. So extremely important that we pick the right mates, that we have the same views and thoughts and stuff. And Ahab started out doing some things that could have been good in the Lord's sight, but he did evil in the Lord's sight, and fought against Elijah and everybody else, and then he even married Jezebel, who did some terrible things. That's the most important part that comes out of it. In the stories that you want, your stories list, make sure you have the story of Jezebel in there. Extremely important to share with people talking during this time of the kings. and why these things are happening in Israel. They just totally turn their back on God and start worshiping other things, and rightfully so. And if you remember back in Deuteronomy and Numbers and Leviticus, it talks about, and the warnings that we said over and over again, if you do these things, if you turn your back on, God's saying this, if you turn your back on me, I will punish you for that. Those are the things we hit really hard, and they're all happening because why? Because God said, every one of your days has been written before the world even began. He wrote every one of your days down, everything that you do. He knows your thoughts and everything. He's not bound by time. So all of these things he knew was going to happen, and he sends the messages through his prophets, through his people, through Moses, through Solomon, who says all these things. All these people say these things to warn them of what's going to happen, and God knows it's going to happen. So the free will is still there, but God also knew that this is going to happen. So that's another discussion about, free will and things that are destined. In destiny, we talked about destiny as well. So the prophets are now on the scene, and that's where we want to get to about, in the Old Testament, it really gets bad for Israel. But the good part about this is that God sends these prophets to try to save them, to set good things in motion for when Christ comes and finally breaks all chains. That is what is so cool about the prophets coming. So keep track of your stories and the kings and what they're doing and what's causing them to sin and be taken away, and the extent of what they do. That's so very, very important. That is your day 163. I'll see you tomorrow.